Welcome to the Unblock Your Business podcast. I'm Abby Rogers, success coach, business coach and hypnotherapist, and I help high achievers and business leaders master their subconscious habits for success, income goals and, above all, happiness. But success isn't just about mindset or strategy. It's about combining both and sealing the deal with a big dose of subconscious alignment, because our subconscious holds the true key to unlocking our potential. Let's dive in and look at how you can show up bigger, better, and more uniquely aligned in life and business today. Hi, so today we are going to be talking about how to consistently create incredible content. Not very mindset-y you might think, or not very subconscious you might think, but actually there's quite a lot of useful brain stuff in here today. So we're going to explore content both in a strategic way, but also in a mindset kind of way, and get you feeling like you can actually really show up and create that content without struggling. Hooray! So I'm sure you've noticed that if there is one thing that can easily suck the life out of any good launch or marketing strategy, it is the struggle to know what to say. And if you frequently find yourself staring at your laptop or phone and thinking, what the hell should I write? Or if you're actually even pretty good at posting but just aren't really seeing the leads from that, then this episode is going to massively change things up for you with some really simple strategies to get those creative juices flowing. So this stuff is exactly what's helped me and what did help me when I decided to launch this podcast. And it helped me to sit down and list out basically in the space of about half an hour, less than that probably, 2 years worth of possible episodes before I'd even got going. And I have to say I've barely scratched the surface, because once you start, it's kind of like the creative dam bursts open and all of a sudden you've got more ideas than you know what to do with, which is, wow, that sounds fantastic, doesn't it? Let me tell you it is, and we're going to get you there too. So trust me, you are going to be in content heaven after this one. You're going to have quite a march stolen on everybody else out there who's still doing it the struggle way. So the first thing you need to do is to get really clear on your objectives. Now, this might not sound too revolutionary. Bear with me, there's more exciting stuff coming later. But this will include, where you can, being as specific as you can on things like what offers you might want to ultimately sell. Now, by offers, obviously, well, I say obviously, but it's not always that obvious depending on where you are in your marketing journey. But I also mean things like lead magnets, because those should ultimately tie in with your paid offers and be along the same lines. Also, it'll include thinking about who those offers are for, your ideal client or ideal clients, and who you're targeting things at, thinking about their particular struggles and problems, and also getting really clear on things like the barriers to them doing something about those struggles. So what is it that tends to put them off doing anything? Typically that is often things like time, lack of time, money, not being ready to invest, not being aware that it's possible for them to change, or not being aware maybe that your service might be the answer to the problems that they perceive in their life. So those are all barriers and things that might get in the way. Now, I know getting clear on all that stuff can sound a bit daunting, but getting as many of those thoughts together as you possibly can around those areas really, really helps. Basically because it gives your brain a really specific task. It gives it a really specific thing that we are aiming for, and our brains love specific. So if we're just thinking to ourselves, I need to come up with some content, I need to think of something to post, what on earth could I post? And we've got no specific outcome, no specific thing we're aiming for, then it's kind of pretty woolly. We're not giving our brain great instructions, and it's hard for our brain to get to grips with, because it doesn't really know what the target is. Too much possibility, too many potential ideas. And it's also confusing for your ideal clients, your potential clients, to see random posts about lots of different things that don't really speak to them as well. So the clearer you can get on those things, the easier it's going to be for you to come up with content, and the better your messaging is going to resonate with your ideal client too. So I would really advocate spending a bit of time thinking about this stuff and just watch your brain start to suddenly send things your way, flashes of inspiration, ideas, and thinking, oh, I could talk about that. That's something else I hadn't thought of before. So I love to have just a good brainstorm or mind mapping session, because really connecting your thoughts with paper always feels way more powerful than just thinking them, because we tend to get lost in our thoughts when we think of them. When we connect pencil to paper or pen to paper, very often it just really helps solidify those thoughts and gets our brain firing off in different directions too. So have a good old brainstorm, good old brain dump, and just see what starts to flow. Now, creating incredible content is a bit more complicated than that. There are some very specific types of content you can create that are really fantastic for engaging your dream clients and presenting you and your service as the natural, obvious choice for people who are your perfect fit. So what I've done is I've created an easy peasy, super powerful 15-day content challenge to help walk you through everything step by step, to go through all those different types of content that you need to really engage those dream clients and to hold your hand through creating that content. So I'll tell you a bit more about that challenge at the end of the episode. It's really, really good. So that's step one, literally setting that compass so that your brain knows where to head and which direction you want it to focus. Now, if you're interested, that is all to do with a couple of cool structures in our brain, kind of planning structures that are very much involved in creating our desired future. So when we do things like vision boarding and visualization, what we're actually doing is giving our brain specific instructions in exactly the same way. We're programming in the destination, and then our brain can go, right, oh, this is what we need. Off we go. Let's find a way to get there. So it's a really powerful thing to use in any area of life, just getting as clear as you can on the outcomes you want. So the next thing I would really recommend is just allowing your creativity to flow. And here is where it gets a bit more mindset and subconscious based. So what typically happens is that we try to force our content creation. We think, right, now's content creation time. I'm going to spend these couple of days just blasting through tons of content and getting it all out there. Or maybe you have a specific time or a specific day scheduled into your calendar where you plan to just sit down and batch create loads of stuff. And then what happens is you've heard this is a good idea, so you plan it in your diary and you think, fantastic, I've got this lovely clear window in my schedule, I'm going to just do content. And you sit down and nothing happens. Been there? Now that's because you can't force creativity. In fact, the more you try to push it, the more you put that pressure on yourself to come up with ideas, the less creative it's going to be, the less easy you're going to find that. Oh, so frustrating, eh? You also really can't create when you're tired or stressed out. I had yesterday less of a good night's sleep thanks to my lovely 2.5-year-old boy. And I just got halfway through the afternoon and went, I'm not going to do any more work today because my brain is just not firing properly. You just cannot force your brain to work when you're tired. It needs rest. So I've come back this morning fresh and ready to go, thankfully after a much better night's sleep. So cheers 2.5-year-old, that was good. But your best creative ideas will usually come when you're not even trying. So how many times have you had that moment of brilliant inspiration, maybe in the shower, or when you wake up first thing in the morning, or when you're out for a walk, or when you're folding the laundry? Those are the times it always strikes for me. It might be a bit different for you, maybe driving. It's basically because your brain is in this wonderful state of flow at those times. You're in what you might describe as a bit of a trance-like state where you're not forcing your thinking at all. You're just kind of musing, just allowing your brain to wander. And when we do that, our subconscious mind actually gets incredibly active. You think you're not thinking, but there's lots of stuff going on in the background. And in neurology, we believe that a bunch of brain areas called the default mode network activates and fires up. And that brain network basically processes and works out everything we've been taking in, kind of connects the dots between all those plans and ideas and compass directions that we've put in. And when our brain's in that flow state, it's incredibly good at finding solutions and coming up with creative ways to achieve what you want, to solve those problems that you've given it. So really, the more you can let your brain just freewheel and not think, not force it to think, the better. And that's why we feel so inspired and so lit up after we've had a holiday. And we often get a whole new perspective on our business and on the way we could do things. So if you can factor that in regularly, just imagine how powerful that could be, how insightful you would be. Now that doesn't fit in so easily with a nice neat schedule and a well-planned ideal week. So what I do is I keep a Trello board open on my phone. Now I really should have shares in Trello because I talk about them so often. Trello, if you're listening, give me some free shares. But every time I get a flash of inspiration, even if it's just like the hint of an idea that might go somewhere that could potentially be good, I'll just create a card and jot that idea down. And it literally takes a few seconds, but then I've got that idea for good. I've got a reference point to start that thinking process up again. And that is how I found I had 2 years worth of ideas for my podcast. I just sat down and I thought, I'll probably have enough for about 10 episodes, maybe a few more than that. And I sat down and I got like 100 ideas, more than 100 ready to go. So the brilliant thing is that once you've started that list, then the ball just usually starts to roll and it keeps on rolling. So what I've found is I've had that list there. I've barely had to dig into it, but I've always known that I've got something there that I can call on if I need it. And that's just taken the pressure off and allowed my brain to come up with even more great stuff. So really easy peasy strategy, and it's hardly a strategy at all, is it? But it just allows your brain to work without you making it work too hard. The last thing to mention is repurposing content, because our brains are so often focused on the panic of not having anything to put out into the world. We're worrying about what we need to create so much that we often forget that we've got tons and tons of things like social media posts, blogs, lives, whatever it might be we've created in the past, just sitting there quietly in the background, already done, really calling out to be reused. And we often forget just how good those past creations are because we've forgotten about them, we've done them, we've written them off. And we load all this pressure on ourselves to be new and inspirational and come up with another idea. But I'd like to bet that if you go looking back through some of your old content, you will find some gems in there that you can reuse as they are, or they'll inspire you to just tweak them maybe and present them as something new and fresh. There's always inspiration to be found from those old ideas. So that is how to create consistently incredible content. Much easier than you might think, huh? So as I've mentioned earlier, I've created a step-by-step 15-day content challenge to help you really understand the psychology behind your content and to get super specific about the types of content that you need to be putting out there to attract your dream clients. So this challenge is entirely email-based. Not a Facebook group in sight, which is brilliant if you are, like me, an introvert, or if you're just overwhelmed by too many groups and too much stuff going on. And it's at a really easy, manageable pace. So I've done one email every 3 days because I think one every day might just feel a bit overwhelming and overloading. So you've got plenty of time to work on those ideas and let your brain just freewheel and come up with the goods in between those prompts. So the link for that is in the show notes. Just head on over there, click through, pop your details in, and it will be winging its way to your inbox faster than a cheetah on roller skates. I have no idea why a cheetah on roller skates popped into my mind. I wonder if actually roller skates might slow down a cheetah. They certainly would if they were anything like my skating skills. But faster than a very, very fast thing. So head on over there, pop your details in, and you'll be jumping into that content challenge really soon and really noticing that your content ideas are flying. So I'll be back next week with a wonderful guest who has some very inspiring insights into her own journey to entrepreneurial success, from side hustle to six figures. So if you haven't already subscribed, then make sure you do so, because you don't want to miss this episode. In the meantime, have a wonderful week, and I will see you then. Take care. Thanks for listening. I really hope you've enjoyed today's episode. If you have, it would be incredible if you could pop a review on iTunes, Google, Spotify, or your favourite podcast platform. And if you want to dive deeper, you can find me in my Facebook group Unblock Your Business, or at www.unblockyourbusiness.com.